Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. You know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Guns, boom.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? An amazing show for you guys today. We're live from the OnChain Hour. And last night, we saw Bitcoin getting above $90,000. Amazing to see. Absolutely amazing. Wake up 6 hours later after I seen that, and Bitcoin is back down at 87. We are climbing a little bit back up now at 87.5, but this price action sucks. We've been in a range now from about 78,000 to 90,000, which feels like mid-November. This has just been the worst time to be in crypto. It really has. It's just been one of those times where every single time you check the price action or do anything, it's just boring, right? Like there's nothing happening in crypto. When I go to look at the news in the morning, there's nothing. No one's putting out any projects. No one's putting out anything. But then why are Ethereum smart contracts at a record high? Why are people deploying these? What is going on there? We're going to talk about that. Nick Shirley is somebody who has become probably the biggest winner of 2025, and he did it in the last couple of weeks with this whole Minnesota thing. And he dropped a creator content token or a creator capital market token, whatever you want to call it. And it did insane. This is the beginning of something special there, guys. Creator capital markets is going to be something awesome. I was building dApps all weekend because Google's new tool that just dropped is amazing. You can seriously create dApps in seconds. All you need is a Google account. You need a Versal to kind of see the website and a GitHub. And it's super easy. And like all you're doing is signing and creating those accounts. And that's it. Google handles everything for you. So that's kind of scary now because now people can create dApps in seconds. I can create an Aave competitor in seconds. I can create a Facebook competitor in seconds. Like it doesn't even have to be Web3. It can be Web2. It's absolutely insane. The amount of dApps that we're going to see this year are going to be awesome. But what does that mean for marketing? It's going to be a big time. You have so many dApps and so little places to market. It's going to get really competitive when it comes to creator capital markets and potential big wins happening there. So that's something definitely to be paying attention to. Everything kind of forms into one. Someone from our Chinese community reached out to me and they're like, yo, have you checked out Sats World? It's UniWorlds. Remember UniWorlds from those days? But there's a giant Chinese community on there, 300-400 people that use it daily. And you should check it out. There's 3 games. So we're going to check that out. And if you guys want us to check anything out, reach out to me in DM, send me a text, whatever. And we'll look at anything really. Right now is the best time to do that because there isn't much news. We're going to be going over markets. We're going to be going over potential non-rollback now from Flow blockchain. We do Flow. There you are, the founders of NBA Top Shot and CryptoKitties. These guys made some mistakes, but they're fixing it now. We're going to get into that. We're going to get so much more as well. So without further ado, let's get this show started and bring my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
So, man, how was your Christmas, man? How was your weekend? How's everything?
Yeah, holidays were definitely different this year than the past couple years, even though the past couple years weren't necessarily crazy great years for our space, but they were decent, 23 and 24 just in different areas. But it was good to, like you said last week, it was good to get away. I don't know if you said that in a partner meeting or something, but you said, it's good to get away for a little bit and realize that, you have family that love you and all these important things in life. And it kind of brings back the perspective a little bit why you're even doing this, why you're working so hard, why you're going through all the ups and downs and all that stuff. So I think it was more of a moment of reflection than a lot of other holidays that I've had. So in that sense, good. I was able to play a round of golf on Christmas Eve. My brother is like obsessed with it. So I'm just like, okay, if you want me to play, he can't play by yourself. So I'll join him. But when it comes to the markets, no surprise that we did see Bitcoin fake people out to the upside yesterday and then pull them back to the 87. That's just been the theme, right? That's something we talked about last week. 86 to 92. That's been what we have been, or Bitcoin has been, right? But I do believe there's going to be a moment, whether it's in 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, that crypto does get that what it deserves. The people that have hung out here for a lot of time, and people are saying we don't deserve much and this and that and the other. Sure, there's been bad parts of our market or of our industry, but the people that do believe in the innovation and want to do good, I do think that they deserve a rally, and I think they get it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna go counter argument there. I don't think so. I don't
The
think
entire year of 2026.
I don't think we get a rally in that in Q1, right?
Like
So
3, 6, or 8.
my mindset right now, I can't do it anymore. I can't do the long term.
I can't
do
do
the long
it
term stuff.
anymore,
No, honestly, I
man.
can't do I'm done doing the long term predictions. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Oh, yeah,
But
for sure.
I can. I'm getting into more short term predictions. Right, I'm going to predict January and February and March. Right, that March being the last month that I'll actually predict, and I do not see a world where we can just do this sideways motion that we're doing and then just all of a sudden everyone just comes back, right? All these projects are dry. I just can't say it's going to take time.
And liquidity.
I feel and liquidity. That's 100%. I couldn't agree more. But I just don't see a run that is sustainable, right? We might have runs where Bitcoin hits 96, but then I think they come into the market and they short it back down. I just don't see anything really happening in January or February. I just can't see it right now.
If that's a run that people get excited about, that's sad. Like Bitcoin in 96. I mean, it's something, right, that we haven't experienced. But I feel like there should be a reality TV show called Crypto Wives, because the funny thing about this is that over the weekend, I'll tell you why. A buddy of mine that has been, investing in crypto the past, I would say like 5-6 years from last cycle, right? Me and him talk a lot, and he was big on XRP and all these things. He had his portfolio, and we do a show, and I'm just getting information from other people that highly respectable, and everybody said Q4, right? We were all into it, including him, but we ate dinner. They're from Austin. They came up. We ate dinner on Friday night, and I wasn't gonna even drink. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna drink anything because I just want to eat and go home. He comes in, and then he's like, man, what's going on? All these things. And then the wives are just like, can you guys just not project like any future expectations of the crypto space? And then they were like almost having like their moment of the wives together of like, gosh, like all we go through as crypto wives. And I was like, there's probably a lot of husbands out there that hear that right now, right? But if you really truly believe in it, you've known what has happened to people that have gone through like the hardest times, and there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. And then I think those wives will be happy eventually, if their husbands are patient enough and hang out long enough, I guess you could say.
You know who is happy though? Which wives are happy? The wives who
gold wives
are in gold and silver. Yeah, so silver and metals, right? Bitcoin left behind. When does Bitcoin finally catch up? So we're kind of hitting that already. Silver, I think silver and gold have a lot more to go. And gold sitting around 4,500 yesterday. I think it's back down to 43. Silver hitting almost $80 now. I think it's back down in the mid 70s. And I just think that what normally happens is I think they both have a blow off top here, and I don't think it comes until February. I can see gold hitting 6,000. I can see silver at least another 40-50% from here. And I say that because, Singapore, I saw a video, Singapore gold shops, Singapore is the capital, crypto capital. And these gold shops and these silver places and these pawn shops, they're all just being so overcrowded with buyers. And you know what I mean? And you might say like, oh, they're buying the top. But we saw the same thing happen 2 months ago, and now gold's back to an all-time high, right? With these different countries. So it just keeps happening and is not stopping. So I just can't see this being the top of these markets.
Yeah, and we all know that China pushes for gold because that is something that they heavily, invest in and back and support. And so the Asian countries surrounding China, Singapore might not be a part of actual China, but there's influence there definitely. But Singapore is a country that the average citizen, I would say, is in that top percentage of Asia in terms of wealth, right? You can look at a lot of the asset markets over there. And when I was over there for the Ordinals conference, and it was Token 2024, I think it was it 2024 or 2025? Or no, 2023. Yeah, it's 2024. Anyways, like you could see that there's money there on like with the average citizen there. And so it doesn't shock me that they are, pouring into precious metals. There's collectibles industries over there. There's sneaker conferences that go to Singapore too. They do the videos and stuff. So I'm not too shocked with that. And then a couple months ago, when you were talking about some of the other countries, it's like Vietnam, right? So Asia's really big on the precious metals right now. I think that's an influence for sure from China. But silver, the sneaky one that kind of snuck up here recently, people were looking for a different opportunity. And, if you got into silver, you made out like a bandit. Now it's kind of going back to gold. But congrats to the people. Peter Schiff, I guess, congrats to him too.
Seriously. And I keep seeing stuff online where these guys are saying like, hey, there's not enough silver. Like, you know what I mean? People keep saying like, it's like, find me the silver.
Is it manufacturing that's taking it?
What do you mean?
Like, is there a lot of manufacturing? They don't use it at all in manufacturing?
Barely.
Okay.
I mean,
so it's basically just
it's
people that are holding the asset then. Wow.
Yeah. And people say that, gold's used and stuff like that. I've been a machinist my whole life, and it's so rare for it's just too expensive to machine. And then you're sitting in there and you're catching every little droplet. It's just too expensive. It's not they're using alternatives, right? Like the titanium and stuff like that. It's not in anything. Like people say it maybe stuff that's made in the 90s and stuff like that. Maybe it's not being used in manufacturing at all. Gold, silver.
It works well though, as like the way the metals work, what I mean?
It's just too expensive.
Yeah, I get that.
It's super hard. So when you're machining something like gold or silver, it's not even like you're damaging your tools more. It's not like, it's best to just mold it, create a mold and dump it in, and then that's it. But then at the end of the day, how much stuff's actually being used by molding, right? You can use titanium, or you can use copper. Like you don't need silver. Like
I would think copper would be like a heavily used metal because it is.
I mean, all your pipes in your house are copper. Yeah, for sure. Like all the piping in your home is copper and stuff like that. So, but it's just too expensive. It's just too expensive to use. And if you do use, like I said, you're trying to catch every little chip that falls off it that you're machining. It's just not worth it. So it's all just being, but that's the thing too, is like people don't want paper gold and paper silver. They want actual. That's why they're going to these pawn shops. That's why that's why the price is going up so much, because the paper stuff's just like sitting there. No one's really buying it. The ETFs and stuff. The ETFs are doing okay, but the actual product, people want to hold it. It's crazy. I never thought I'd see the time that was happening, for sure. Shout out to Ryan. He said, "What's up, my dudes? Are we ready? Santa got stopped at the border. Had to go back to get his passport. LOL. But soon we will be at Christmas every day." Yeah, I don't know, Ryan, man. Shout out to Glasshopper. My boy Stance is gold or silver right now, dude. Silver seems to be the hotter of the two. And shout out to you guys, man, for sure. All right, let's move along though. Anything left of this before we go? Is Bitcoin going to catch up? Do you think that people start dumping their silver into Bitcoin?
I think it does. I am seeing something interesting happening right now with the meme markets. With like for the first time in a long time, I saw a coin pass like 60 million out of nowhere. But no, I think watching that is going to be important to see if it heads to 100. And I say that because
Yeah.
it's like Bitcoin sometimes, it's obviously the leading asset of our space, right? But if there's liquidity that's coming in to where people can put into a coin that was literally like 5 million, market cap, I want to say like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, it's at like 60 million now. If it gets to 100, that means that the people are starting to have more money, and Bitcoin will make its strong move at some point if that's the case. But again, it usually doesn't go that way to where the carriage goes before the horse. So I'm just watching right now. And I do think that everybody in the world, the Trump organization, a lot of people involved at the highest levels of crypto and Web3 realized how the space feels and looks. And so there's got to be a turnaround at some point.
Yeah, and you're talking about White Whale, right? Well, White Whale is the
Yeah.
coin that the meme coin exploded, and that's the thing. Us as retail investors in meme coins, we could move that, right? We can't move Bitcoin. It's just not possible, right?
Yeah.
You need people like Michael Saylor and stuff. But Uncle Mike did buy some more Bitcoin over the last week. Strategy has acquired
Uncle Mike.
1,229 Bitcoin for $108 million, 88,000 per Bitcoin. Achieved Bitcoin yield of 23% year to date. And as of 12/28/2025, they hodl 672,497 Bitcoin acquired, and their price per Bitcoin is around 75K. Yeah, so strategy is buying. They're still there. They're still here. They're like, we're not going anywhere. We're still buying. But as they buy higher and higher and more, their price now is at 75K per Bitcoin, which is one bad day, and they're below potentially. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they know their situation, right?
Yeah.
And so if they're still purchasing and they have I feel like there's so much mind games that happen in when you're at that level of wealth, right?
Yeah.
You have your CEO of MicroStrategy, I forgot his name. I think he's a Vietnamese American guy though.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying if we absolutely had to, of course we would sell down the Bitcoin. And it goes kind of against what Michael Saylor always says, or he tries to kind of evade that in terms of the answering that. But then they're still buying, you know what I mean? And same situation with Tom Lee and Ethereum, they're still buying. So they're obviously trying to keep that message going. But if it was that dire or that dangerous, then I don't think they would be buying still.
That's a good point. Yeah, 100%. But Saylor was buying in 2022. You know what I mean? When it 6 months later after he bought it was at 19,000 and then 16,000, right? So he's not somebody who, you could say, oh, he's buying, so it must go up. Like he bought the entire year 2022 and sat on a lot of losses going in 2023.
Yeah, but for him to do that, he has the ability to kind of feel safe enough to where it's not going to collapse. And I know that there was a point where people were like, if Bitcoin went really south, but I think you're talking about when it hit like not you specifically, the people that say that, when it went to 16K and then people were calling for 6,000, remember 6,000, 5,000. I think he would probably been a little nervous then if it was like 5,000, 4,000, something like that. So what does that look like today that, kind of comparative price point for him to feel nervous? If it got to 5,000 then, that's probably something closer to like, 20,000 today or something, right?
Yeah.
Relatively speaking. And so the one thing that we do know is that the guy just keeps buying Bitcoin. He hasn't stopped. There's rumors that JP Morgan's trying to, crush him and crush MicroStrategy. He's still buying Bitcoin even after those rumors. So
yeah, they want to take him down so they can buy the stock and then take all that Bitcoin. Right? I think that's the goal there. Get the stock price below the Bitcoin price and then buy it all in one shot. Because you can do a takeover. I don't actually know you can take over MicroStrategy because I think Saylor owns too much of the thing. But yeah, we'll move on. Content capital markets erupts over the weekend with Nick Shirley launching his token. Let's real quickly kind of go into who Nick Shirley is. He's somebody I've followed on TikTok for a long time. I found him on TikTok. He's amazing. He, back when nobody was talking about Biden filling the hotels up with migrants, he was going into those hotels and videotaping it, right? Getting thrown out of those hotels. Anyway, he has had an amazing last 2 months. He found a lot of corruption happening in Minnesota right now, and to the points of billions and billions of dollars. Anyway, he's just a journalist, right? At the end of the day, that's all he is. YouTube channel, TikTok, the whole 9 yards. But he did something out of the ordinary. He actually launched a Zora token. So I saw this token, not even joking with you, at $200,000. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was, oh, well.
Did you know who he was when you saw it?
I knew who he was, but I didn't know it was from him directly until I came over here and I saw that. That means his Twitters are connected. If you see that, that means that Twitter is connected. So if you can click it, the only way to connect
single-handedly, he might be the one that kicks it off, dude.
Yep. I wish I would have did more research because I saw it at 200K and it was moving and I could have probably got in between 500 and $1 million. Obviously it would have been a nice 3.5x, but this thing shot up to $6 million. I think I can see the chart here. Maybe not. Yeah, it's not giving me.
I bet you the number one holder is Jesse Pollock. No,
it might be.
It shows right there.
Okay. Yeah, so you're seeing these guys up here. So yeah, some of this guy's 1.2%. It says airdrop. What does that mean? Airdrop it? They didn't buy it directly.
I think the airdrop goes. I thought is that not the LP? Or maybe you know what? Maybe it's his holdings. It's the airdrop that goes to him.
Well, no, because this is here.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So you mean this half the supply unlocks to the creator slowly over 5 years?
Gotcha.
Right. So it's like, and you're seeing buys come in left and right. So, but this is really, what the fuck?
Malfunction.
Yeah, honestly. So this is it's really amazing for people who are creating content right now. That he made over $60,000 in the Zora token.
Oh wow.
$60,000 off people buying and selling his token. So without selling his tokens, he made $60,000 in Zora. So that's his reward here. And he's posting these as well, and these are doing pretty good. I love this one. He made it's got up to $17,000 market cap. He earned $161 off this image alone. Tim Walls in the Jake Paul stuff here.
That's hilarious.
Creator capital markets, man. This is something that could really spawn here.
I think it will.
More of this.
I think it will. And honestly, I feel like he was the perfect person to kind of kick this off because his personality type, you can tell when he interviews people that he does get behind a certain movement. He leans more right, obviously, than he does left. But, he gets there in the middle of everything and he asks the hard questions, right? And he just seems like a genuine dude. Obviously, that's easy to kind of say from just being an observer, but it's easy for me to say that a lot of people that are in that industry are not genuine being an observer as well, right? So I feel like he's likable. He's a likable guy. And he can really kick this market off, right? Because that's what I think a lot of these platforms have been trying to do is create a place for creators to be able to do what they love to do and make a living off of it, but sustainable, right? And it's been hard. Pump has been trying to do that, but I think they were a lot more geared towards, gaming streamers, that type of crowd. And this is like journalism, actual journalism that, we've been missing, I think, in this country for a long time. Now, people on the left might disagree and say, well, he only is. Well, look, I would say the same thing for the other side as well. If they're doing something similar to, and there's a couple people out there, I'm sure that do, but this is going to be an opportunity, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
I wish I would have caught that, man.
Dude, I was sitting here and I saw it, man. I just wish I would have looked for the X. If I would have noticed that, I probably would have bought into it 100%. I would have sent some base ETH from Coinbase and just bought at least $100 worth or something. 200K, damn, that would have been nice. All right. So let's move on here. On December 27, 2025, an attacker exploited a vulnerability in Flow's execution layer and moved approximately 3.9 million assets off network before validators executed a coordinated halt. So they halted the blockchain, but the attacker was able to bridge the flow or the money off of the exchange. And then they came out and said they want to do a rollback, right? But then the money's already off the chain. It's already bridged off. So who really gets, this guy doesn't care if they roll it back. He got his money all, like, you know what I mean? He's already in ETH or wherever he is, right? It just made 0 sense. And they came out and they said, okay, we're going to put together a way to repay the people who took these losses. We're not going to do the chain rollback, but the days of chain rollbacks are not possible anymore with bridges, right? It's now, okay, I never really thought about this, but back when ETH did their chain rollback and, basically created ETH Classic, right? Because Ethereum got hacked. It was MakerDAO. And what they did was they rolled back the chain to and this was the early days. Not many people were using the chain. It was probably like a few, maybe 1,000 people that were actually using the chain on a daily basis. And so they were able to do that. And they created Ethereum Classic because they forked it and they went back to a certain time. But ETH Classic still was there. And then you had ETH. In this situation, you can't do that because of the bridges. The second this, let's just say you bridged in and that got rolled back. Now your bridge assets aren't there. You know what I mean? It's just not possible anymore. You can't. Chain rollbacks are, I think, in my opinion, I think of the past. It's not possible.
Yeah, well, before you had to try to get it off and into a centralized exchange directly, right? And then that's a big problem for people that are doing exploits and stuff because KYC. So yeah, it's a different game, right? Trying to roll things back. Some people have, I think Barachain did a rollback, or somebody recently did one, but I don't know if it was for an exploit or if it was for another reason. But I think that's a negative connotation type of phrase, anyways, right? Rolling back, no one wants to hear that. $3.9 million of assets. So this is something that these companies are aware of that can be a possibility, and they're going to start working together, I think, as exploits continually happen in the future, to try to eliminate them altogether. Obviously, like, no one wants to lose money at all, right? But these companies, now Flow's been in our space for a bit, so I'm talking about more of, I'm talking about more of like the Web 2 companies that are coming over now too, right? So they're having these layer 2s and all these other things. I do think that they try to go more centralized for sure, because they want to make sure this kind of stuff that doesn't happen. But all it takes is a couple of these big companies and corporations to get hacked and exploited, and they'll band together. And but in the end, this is a different game technology wise, and going into like a different market in general with market participants. So I do think that the exploit stuff starts to get smaller and smaller over time. But we'll see what happens with Flow.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's kind of get into the next thing here. App creating has never been easier. So, guys, over the course of the last, 48 hours, 72 hours, I found it's called aistudio.google.com. And it has been the biggest thing in my life right now. I have created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different apps. I deployed my very first smart contract on Merlinchain. I'm using ChatGPT and AI Studio at the same time. I'm kind of like taking one and the other, but I want to show you guys how it kind of works. It's so simple. Look at here. You just this is the app right here. This is the apps that I've created so far. And you just come up here and describe what you want to do. Let's just give me an idea, Yagobi. Give me something random crypto project.
Okay, so say I want to build a streaming payment platform on Solana.
Right, that's it. So I'm going to put in here. I'm going to build. It's going to bring me to this amazing little dashboard, right? And it's going to integrate it. Right now it's thinking, and you can kind of see what it's doing, investigating design choices, finalizing the prototype. So it's building me a prototype right now of just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 13 words that I wrote here, right? Whatever how many words it is. And developing Gemini, analyzing the choices and all this stuff, enhancing AI capabilities. So in probably about a minute and a half from right now, it's going to give me the screen right here. It's going to give me the full website. exactly what it looks like. It's going to name it for me. It's going to like create the logo. It's going to do everything. And then what you do, use this little chat box to start making changes. You just kind of sit there, and then you can say, okay, I want the title of this changed. I want this changed. And the best thing to do is go over to ChatGPT and kind of put everything in there that you want, and then have ChatGPT prompt it, because its prompts are a lot better than my I want to build. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. I'm just having ChatGPT prompt it, and you can see right here it's created the metadata, the index. So this is all stuff that's going to be in the code, and I highly recommend going to create a GitHub. And then so is create a GitHub account, and then after you create a GitHub account, create a Versal account. What that's going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to take this code right here easily without copy and paste, nothing. It's going to immediately save it to your GitHub, and then you go to your Versal, and then you just attach your GitHub, and then you're able to see the websites perfectly. I will be able to see it here, but it does look a little different from this area to your actual website. And then when you have your actual website, you can actually use it and then test the functionality, because you can't like connect your wallet or anything in here. But you've actually messed with this a little bit as well. What's your experience like?
So I think Gemini is amazing. It is, in my opinion, the best vibe coding that I've experienced. And I'm not a developer, so I'm sure that developers are probably like, nah, man, there's so much better out there. Well,
Yeah.
Talking about someone that doesn't know anything past HTML and CSS basics, I've used ChatGPT before, I've used Grok, and Gemini just seems to be the best user-friendly UI UX experience whenever it comes. And you can use this method that Shizzy's showing you guys, that basically you just tell it what you want, and it builds out like the aesthetic front end of what it's going to look like, just like that. And then you start to, once you're ready to go more into functionality, you can start telling it to build out the code for the functionality side. And then when you're ready, you take it over to GitHub, right? And then you can start testing it out. But there's also another option to where you can kind of grab the code. It gives you the code. You can put it into your local server, so you can test it right away instead of, putting it on GitHub or whatever. But it's just, GitHub's really easy to do as well. So there's just so many options. And I love that, man, because I was at my computer all weekend, and I did have like social obligations with family and stuff, but I wanted to leave and get back to my computer, because one of the things that, Shizzy and I realize is that if you're in the space every single day, I think you got to start like building either tools for yourself or building something that you think could be a positive, a positive for the space to make it better.
Yeah, 100%. And as you can see, it just created this, right? And I just asked, I said, let's create a light mode and dark mode. So this is how you can just you can sit here for hours on hours and just keep doing it, right? You just keep adding stuff and adding stuff. This is what I did all weekend. I created like 3 or 4 things here. And like when this is done, all you got to do is go and hit your GitHub button, because my GitHub's already there. I will have to wait until it's done here, because it's making changes. It can't save until changes. But after you do that, then you just save it to your GitHub, and then go to your Versal, and then just deploy it, and then you actually get a website. So if you want to give a friend this, hey Joe, check this out, you send them the Versal website. It's going to look like, for this instance, streamsoul.versal.com, right? Or it might have add a couple letters in there if there's a copy or something. But it's one of those things. This has just become insanely easy. So let me ask you the question: if we're so easy to create dApps now, if it's so easy to just see an idea and just pop it out there, you no longer need developers anymore. Honestly, I mean, you can make the argument saying, well, developers are going to be really good. Yeah, developers are going to be doing what we're doing, right? Because there's going to be no reason to use code no more. Because when you have an AI and you can just instruct it, you don't even got to look at the code. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to look at it. I deployed a smart contract. I didn't even look at the code.
Yeah, but like, if you want the public to be able to use it, you obviously need to have it audited, right?
The AI's auditing it.
Yeah.
Who's a better AI? Look, and now I have a dark mode and light mode. I just created that.
Yeah, so that's going to come down to what I think the builder is comfortable with. If the builder that is using this approach says, okay, well, I'm going to use AI to audit the website, the public's going to have their perception on, okay, is it audited? How like deep does the logic go? Does it need like, deep auditing? Something like Migrate.fund did, and that's why they went I think, a pretty deep audit. But audits are super expensive, right? So I
100K.
think if you're just like a new builder and you're building something that's not super difficult in terms of the logic of the platform, then I think it's fine to, utilize AI auditing. But just know that, that liability can fall on you, instead of falling on the actual auditing like team that does that. But again, that's super expensive to audit a platform, right? So it's just really, what do you want to do? You want to get it to market. You want to get people to be able to use it, and you don't have $50,000 or how much ever it costs.
Well, that's the one thing I noticed, right? So when I took this code and I put it in ChatGPT immediately found a couple different things, and then you potentially take it to Claude and it could find a few things, and then if they all agree together, hey, your code is good. I honestly trust that more than humans. Honestly, I will trust that way more than humans in the sense of 3 AIs all agreeing that hey, there's no holes in this, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, but the human aspect of things does matter to an extent, right?
I
And
disagree.
we saw that whenever you did the trading competitions with the 5 AIs losing to the top human traders, right? I mean, I think that has a little bit of like human gut instinct that allowed those humans to beat AIs in trading like P&L. And that's for them because they're not like the AI is going to use like a black and white approach. This is like this for this token's price action, so I will do this. This does this, so I will do this every single time. With a human, you can say, yeah, I know that situation is usually I would take this position or that position, but there's this other stuff that's happening with this team behind the scenes and all this stuff. And so I think that's how humans can have a little bit of an edge with gut intuition and stuff, which AI lacks. You know what I mean?
So, but that's trading, right? That's trading. I'm talking about like code. AI is actually all AI is code. So I'm having code. Look at code. Like you know what I mean? It's just like
Code is
oh
pretty
my God, I
black
have
and
a
white.
human who's not. It's you know what I mean. It's different when you have the AI just looking at something that it's made out of, right? And when you come to trading, it's a lot of it's luck. Honestly, you can say you're the best trader in the world, but it's still 60% luck, right? So, and then it comes down to making gutsy calls and all that stuff, right? So I think trading is different, incomparable to the fact that you can have your AI audit your code and have multiple AIs audit your code. Again, humans make mistakes, and I can go back and upload every single malfunction that's ever happened in code and actually give it that. So now my AI has the experience of past situations, right? So I'm giving it everything it needs to succeed,
Well,
right?
how are
And
you
I
gonna
do
get all
think
that data?
it's easy. You just Google it. How this happened, you know what I mean? Like what was
Every
the
single
vulnerabilities?
instance?
Well, you can get you could if you wanted to, if you want to sit there and make sure that there's
So that's a
there's probably
human
like
job to do that,
you can
because it
have
would
the AI
take you
do it. You can have the AI do it. Say, hey, look up every instance of every type of
exploit.
failure and look at it. Right. So there is no I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling the AI to do it. And the AI is actually doing it for me. So it will probably take like 15 minutes for the AI to kind of structure every type of exploit that ever happened and make sure that none of those affect or will affect my code going forward.
Yeah. It was interesting working with Gemini this weekend or, the AI studio, because, they do forget things a little bit here and there, but they eventually get it right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they take 5 attempts, sometimes they take 10 attempts, but you do have to communicate with them. And there is this aspect of, interacting with the AI to make sure that you get to where you want to go. Um, in the past, when I try to use AI to build something,
Yeah.
I would stop because I felt like I hit a wall that the AI just could not get past. Yesterday, there was a couple moments to where I was like, "Oh no, I feel like I'm reaching that."
Yeah.
But I just like I brought a little bit of different perspective to the questioning and the way I was talking to
Mhm.
the AI, and the AI was like, "Actually, that's not a bad idea or that bad approach," or "Yeah, that makes sense," and we got it fixed. It's almost kind of like you're if you're not an experienced coder, you're the assistant that is trying to guide this AI, but every once in a while you can maybe throw in a suggestion that might help it, even though it's way more capable at coding than you are.
100%. I mean, that's why Steve Jobs was amazing. He was an idea guy. It's not like he Wozniak, without Steve Jobs, he probably wouldn't succeed, even though he was the one who created all of this, right? So it really comes down to like you got to treat the AI like it's your, that's what I tell it sometimes. Like you're my lead engineer. Figure this out, right? And I'm potentially the CEO, and that's the lead engineer. I don't know how to code, but I don't need to know how to code. But I know what it's supposed to look like. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing. Is like I don't think we need engineers anymore. I don't think we need coders now with AI. I think that's one of the first things to go in this new area of life that we live in.
Yeah. So I think engineers and developers have an advantage when they use these tools because they just know the native situation, right? But yeah, so where I think you're right with that is more like if you were talking about coming out of like the .com bubble, I know I bring that up a lot because that was a big deal of innovation transition. A lot of people that had great ideas, they didn't know how to code a website in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. They had a lot of good ideas. There was no AI then. Imagine if there was AI then. So where I think where you started the show off about competition going to be abundant, that is true. And I think that, but that also gives opportunity for really good idea guy people that just now they can use AI to put their ideas to action and to life, bring it to life, right? So
right?
yeah, this weekend was definitely a big eye-opening situation for me because of how much how capable they are. I built some things personally that I was just like, wow, you know what I mean? And being able to interact with live mainnet from just local servers and stuff like that is something I've heard about from developers. I've heard them talk about those things, but to be able to build stuff like that was really cool. But you got WebJoe, he says right now these AIs still aren't there, but soon. He said for code,
Dude,
and then he said for most other things they're already better. Yeah, so I was in this similar boat as that idea of they're not there until yesterday, until Friday, because I think Friday is whenever we started talking about it, right?
Yep.
They are there, in my opinion. They are there for code, but you do have to be a good captain of the ship in what you want, and be able to communicate it to the AI of what you want, right? And the way Shizzy showed is the easiest, most straightforward, but you got to know that it does get a little bit like there's a couple friction points after that. Like once you if you want to take it to mainnet, first you got to get it to testnet, right? If you're trying to create a product, you have to deploy a contract, all that stuff. That's a little bit of, I think, the growing pains part, because you got to kind of do a lot of that part, right? You get the smart contract written by them and all that stuff, and then you have to execute. And that's more of a learning, first time learning situation.
They give you the smart contract, but then I had it audited by ChatGPT and I found a couple of things. So then I would take it back to things like, hey, we found these problems, fix this. And then it would fix it. And then I would send it back to ChatGPT. ChatGPT was working as my auditor. And then it was like, okay, now that problem fixed, I found a couple more. And we just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then
you said they were like arguing, right? They were conflicting.
They were arguing. Yeah. They were like, he's wrong. That's not how this is done. And eventually ChatGPT ended up winning the argument because I was just being the middleman, just copy and paste it. And I'm waiting for the responses.
Did you get frustrated at one point and you're like, hey guys, stop fighting?
I realized who was right, because then all of a sudden AI Studio just started hallucinating. It was thinking I was prompting it stuff. Like I loved my UI at one point, loved it. I thought it was amazing. Then all of a sudden it starts changing my UI. I'm like, what are you doing? I just need a smart contract. Like I was frustrated. So I finally, people say like AI hallucinates. I had no idea what that really meant. I was like, how can the AI hallucinate? But it thinks you told it something that you did not tell it. That was really eye-opening as well. A little scary too when it starts making my website
do you feel like it said that, or it assumed that because it felt like what it did was better for you? You know what I mean? Like it was like the changes that made it was like, you should do this, you should do that.
No, it was so weird. Like we're just battling my smart contract between the two AIs. Then all of a sudden I see this. I see, because I wasn't, the AI stuff, I wasn't like with the smart contract, it was supposed to give me the information because I had to copy it and take it to Mixer. So I didn't need any of these changes. So after the one prompt, I see this and I'm like, what the hell? Why is it changing all this? Right? Because it shouldn't have been. It wasn't previously. Then all of a sudden, I'm seeing all these. I'm like, what are you changing? What are you doing? And then I go to my website and look at it and I'm like, why is this nail over here? I was like,
Was it hard to get back on track, or was it pretty easy?
No, because there's an amazing thing here called restore. So I can just go back up to the previous change and hit restore. And I'm like, hey, what the hell? Why did you do that? I restored it back. Do not do that again. It's like, apologies. Yeah, I for some reason, something in here thought that. And one mistake I made too was I told it you're my lead engineer. So it was like being my lead engineer and making like changes to stuff that I didn't want it to do. So that was one of the problems, that it was thinking it was my lead engineer. And it was
You
like,
should have said you're my lead engineer, but every change has to go through me.
yeah, well, that's the difference between someone good at this and someone not, right? You got to learn. Like, it might just be so easy to kind of sit here and just put, like, stuff in there, but if you don't learn how to prompt it and be a prompt engineer and actually be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't write that. Let me go ask another AI if I should write this correctly. Like, seriously, you have the tools around there. Use it. Like, use Claude, use ChatGPT, use AI, use them all together, because that's how you're going to win.
Yeah, yeah, and it can help you with communication too in the end, because like you have to be, figure out how to get your message across
Yeah.
properly to these guys, and sometimes that's a hard thing to do in life in general. So use AI; it might help your relationships out.
100%. All right. Ready for some crypto price action and the bubbles? I'm actually excited for you to tell us that we're going sideways and more sideways. And don't forget sideways.
Yeah, sideways has been the theme for Q4, which is unfortunate, right? But before we get into the Bitcoin price action, help us out, guys, on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us, subscribe to the channel, all that great stuff. Turn your notifications on X. Let's share this space to as many people as possible. You guys have already helping us out. We got about 170 people in here watching. And so we appreciate that. And remember, if you want that banner there in the top bottom, go to pyro.buzz and you can bid on it. The way it works is you bid on it and you buy our Zora token or a Puffon token that burns, and it helps us out. And we give you guys exposure through pyro.buzz. So excited with our partnership with Pyro. It's going to be awesome, especially with the CCM meta continuing there. But yeah, let's jump into some price action here. Starting with Bitcoin, kind of the typical deal here. The hour chart. Let's take a look at it. Man, this was the fake out, right? To the breakdown. Not fake out to the breakout, to the breakdown. Yes, last night around 9 p.m. Eastern, we got to about 90,400, only to have overnight just get annihilated. And we're trying to work our way back up here, right? So you can see the MACD momentum indicator is starting to break down a little bit. But I've seen several cases to where this looks like it's about to exhaust and it has a continuation. So definitely be careful here. And then the stochastics really hasn't been here too long. So that's another thing that's telling me, okay, well, we'll just kind of hold your horses here. Could see some back and forth action as we try to get out of the sell pressure here, right? So as of right now, I'm kind of just watching Bitcoin to see if we have a continuation and this has a continued like breakdown. Maybe we'll see this kind of start to curl down. But if we do see a strong curl up and it crosses over that slow orange line, then we'll come out of this. I just think it's too quick to make a assumption at this point. But let's take a look at some of the support and resistance here on the hour chart. And we are going back to let's go a little bit further there. Okay, yeah, about 6 a.m. Eastern here. And you can see that the resistance definitely has the advantage here. Not by a ton. It is close to even, but above that, we're getting ping pong back down. You can see right here. This is where at the 87,670, we are getting ping pong back down. And you can see the resistance actually picking up here too. Where the support comes in, which is a good sign because it's the highest volume area, is in this 87,550 area here. So really, I think we just need to keep ping-ponging back and forth here and then hopefully exhaust the sell pressure session, and then we can break back out. If we lose this 87,550, then we'll have this area to catch us a little bit, but then below that, we kind of lose it back to resistance. So it does seem a bit like choppy back and forth is what it looks like in this whole area that we're at right now. So definitely wait and see is my mentality to see, which direction takes over in a strong way, right? We already have had overnight kind of the downside, take that. Now we're trying to take it back to the upside. So right now, I assume that we're going to probably see that ping pong chop, and then Bitcoin decide where it wants to go in the next couple hours here. As of right now, though, yeah, 86 to 92. That's my mindset, because that's what the charts are telling me. If you look at the 4-hour chart here, we definitely, came out of this buy pressure session. So this is something that tells me be careful even more from that previous chart, because the 4-hour is saying, hey, look, buy pressure session's done. We want to go into some sell pressure here. So, the best case scenario right now, in my opinion, is to probably have a couple really weak 4-hour sell session candles on the MACD here, and then try to work our way back up. Or obviously the very best situation would be a complete reversal. So this would be like just a little tiny little misstep here and then go back into buy pressure. I just don't see that happening. So probably a little bit of sell pressure on that 4-hour, and that could bring us back to the $86,000 range, maybe 85, 86,000 in the next couple of days, if that happens. So this 1-hour can definitely change the story for the 4-hour, but for the 4-hour right now, it's telling us that probably not going to happen. And so that's what we got for Bitcoin's 1-hour, 4-hour chart. The daily chart looks interesting. Looks very interesting here. So you can see that, when we came out of this buy pressure session here, didn't really go into sell pressure very, very much. Like there was no intensity really here. And then we went back into buy pressure, but it's pretty weak here too. So it could go either way here. But I kind of like what I see here, honestly. If we do get some sort of end of year rally, this could break back open, obviously. But if we have a crappy start to the beginning of January, might see a little bit more of this over here. So it's something to keep your eye on to finish the year. We only got 3 days left, right? So do we see Bitcoin rally towards the end of the year? Probably not. A lot of tax harvesting type of situations in crypto, or just not buying, right? They're buying other assets. So I imagine this will probably stay kind of boring on the daily chart as well. But obviously always, stay alert. So that's Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum has been in this do nothing zone since, if you go back to the 19th of this month, so about 10 days, man. It literally just barely bumped out of it on the hour chart here, barely. There was an attempt last night, didn't quite make it above that, right? So this is something I use personally, right, for Ethereum. This is just me personally, not financial advice, but like my accumulation zones, the do nothing zones at 29. It's very tight though, 2,900 to 3,050, and then if you go a little higher, you can see the sell zones to take profit there. But man, we've been ranging in this, right? So you talk about, just a boring range. Ethereum's been pretty boring for 10 days. Now let's go to the 4-hour here. In the 4-hour, is very similar to Bitcoin here. It seems like this buy pressure session is done. And then you can go to that daily. The daily is going to look similar as well. The daily looks a little bit better for Ethereum. Now, we did have more of an extension of green days for Bitcoin. So is this just getting started for Ethereum? This is something to keep your eye on. Not anything like big, because this is pretty weak still, but it's just getting started. So would be awesome if Bitcoin did rally to the end of the year, because this could really push Ethereum up aggressively to start this daily momentum. So that's Bitcoin and Ethereum for you guys. Let's take a look here at the crypto bubbles in the top 100. Midnight up 13%. It's that Cardano protocol there. You're seeing Mix, which is a perps DEX on Binance Smart Chain, up 3.1%. Hyperliquid perps, again, another perps product, up 3.4%. And some stuff that's pulled back. It's not really getting killed. You're seeing a lot of 5%, 4%, 5% on the high end, really. Mean core down almost 6% there. You are seeing Pump down 4.7%. Pump, I think, they've been doing some buybacks with Pump though. But gosh dang, the market cap's $1 billion. I think didn't it start off at like 4?
Can't even remember.
I think
so.
Around 4. So pretty big pullback since the all-time high. And then you're seeing a lot of the other blue chips here really pulling back between like 2 and 4%. So it's actually not that bad. depending on how deep this goes, though. And then take a look here at the top 200. Merlin did have a pretty significant pullback here. It's at 30 cents. It's pulled back to 18% there. But not worried about that. That team is constantly grinding there. And look, they just got listed on Coinbase Perps not long ago, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So I think the future is definitely bright for them. And then you can see stuff like the Pulse ecosystem pulling back about 5%. Is there anything else that's in here? This Bitcoin is interesting. It's been all in our face. It's up 35%. And then yeah, I mean, pretty much everything else in here. Fartcoin down 5%. So Fartcoin is something we look towards for the trenches indicator. So it's pulling back, but status quo, I would say about that 5%, right? So the higher end of the blue chips that are pulling back, right? So and that's pretty much it, guys. We got 3 days left to end this year. Hang in there. It hasn't been easy, especially the people that did have that expectation of Q4. I was a big person that was in that group that had that expectation, and you just learn how the space is changing. But I do think that there's going to be large opportunity in the future for the space, whether that's the space changes and we learn how that is, or we do get these sporadic alt rallies, and in 2026 ends up being a better year. There was a comment from someone in the community that said, "Are you guys ready for those stimulus checks?" I think it was Mogar here. I think a lot of people are, and the market is. Let's see if we get kind of a response from that. That would the worst case situation would be if stimulus checks went out and every other asset class thrived again except for crypto. I think people would probably be like, about.
Well, I think the thing is, I think retail's not here. I think retail has no interest in crypto, like zero. And I mean, we've seen this for over the last 2 years, dude. Like, it's nothing new. Retail has no interest in crypto. That's why people that are buying Bitcoin, they're buying Ethereum, they're buying these large caps. They're not buying Solana, they're not buying Tau, they're not buying it's just retail is just not here. And the retail that is here, they're exhausted. They're mentally exhausted. They're probably physically exhausted as well for running in circles for 2 years. And it's just, I don't know how we get retail back. I don't know how we do it.
First step is give them extra money to be able to have to at least think, because as of right now, it seems like they're not even considering, come into the space. But if you give someone extra money, then they start to try to think of ideas. The people that do have money and want to invest are definitely not here. They're in other sectors of the market.
I'm just afraid you give retail money and they're buying freaking Pikachu, and they're buying like Jalen Hurts rookie cards, and they're buying gold and silver. And I think we messed up as an industry last cycle, and we burned a lot of retail, and the retail is like not again.
Well, you talked about CCM, I think it was last week or the week before, and the potential for it. And I think if this situation with this Nick guy, this journalist, independent journalist, starts to really pick up, then there could be a changed perception of CCM to the overall public. It's not going to happen like overnight, but what will happen is people will try it. Let's say that like his market cap goes to something like 50 million or something like that, and he's just really popular, maybe even higher. People will see that, and they're looking for new metas, and especially in our space, right? And so they'll see that and they'll say, who's the next guy, or who's the next company, or like up and coming content creator, or up and coming celebrity, like your example. I think it was a good example. If this meta was in place whenever the Post Malones or some of these early stars, and you had the opportunity, that's kind of a fun thing. You're like, what, man, this guy's dope. Like, I'm gonna invest in him because I think he has a bright future, right? So interesting if that becomes the situation, because it definitely would be a social construct change.
Yeah, 100%. And like, friends, I mean, I knew a Meek Mill before before Diddy, right? Like, so it was like one of those things before, it was like, so back
No
like in
Diddy.
Philly,
No
he
Diddy.
was like, he was one of the biggest, underground rappers, right? And like I knew him. I knew this guy Cassidy, who I loved. But if I would have bought his token, I would have lost money because he's not rapping anymore, right? So it's kind of like, so yeah, you're right. It'll be a fun little thing. So
for sure.
But yeah, man, shout out to Mogard. Thank you guys. And a lot of comments here. Shout out to Jacklish. He says, any idea why the silver is down a lot today? We appreciate. So Benjamin Cohen actually tweeted this. He said, much needed cool off. He said it's a much needed cool off. And what happens is the stock market comes back today, right? After not being able to trade all weekend, and paper Bitcoin's being sold down. I mean, paper silver is being sold down, while all the other places, their prices going up. Like you go to Costco right now and buy silver, you're buying it.
Costco is the precious metals place, man.
Dude, you can go there and you can buy gold coins.
Can I buy copper?
$4,000. Like, I mean, you probably just steal it out the walls, but that's what they do in Philly anyway. Like my sister does real estate, and sometimes she'll have houses on the market for months, and she'll go there. She hasn't been there in a few weeks. She'll go there to check in on, and all the walls are just all the copper parts.
And they like basically just like ruin the walls big time.
Yeah, they don't care about the walls because they just want the copper out. So they cut holes and they take all the copper piping. They turn off the water, obviously, so it doesn't thing, and they'll steal like thousands of dollars of copper.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out to Blazing Bandit. He answered the question for him. Shout out to you, my friend. Webdro. Webdro, your frog's coming, buddy. Reach out to me in DMs. Give me your thing. We'll officially announce it on 31st.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Yeah, man.
I do think I do think certain collections and ordinals are gonna have their day. The overall market needs to be really good, obviously, for NFTs and those type of assets, but I think they're gonna have their day. Look, I mean, Counterparty has assets that are selling for 6 figures. Now it is a specific collector.
Yeah, I know.
But still they list them for that price and they get bought every once in a blue moon, right? So I think that matters because if they just there was no Counterparty assets being bought for like years, I think you gotta be like worried. You know what I mean? Now with ordinals, I do think it's going to be a similar situation, but it's a little bit more mainstream than Counterparty, right? So like as long as the market comes back, I think that they can be celebrated again.
100%. And shout out to Frank Me. He says silver charts look like Weimar when they were going through their collapse. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Weimar was one of the, I think it was a country, right? Is that what that is? I'll look into it.
I'm not sure.
Mogar says, I think large cap cryptos are like ETFs now. Government will pump our bags and use them. We've been saying that all year. There's no government pumping of bags. It's right now anyway. It's just not happening. And even so, they pump those bags. How do we make? If they pump Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that, like, all right, are we gonna be satisfied with a 40% pump? I'm like, oh, we made money. Like, that's not us.
So like the traditional investor hears that and they're just like, I know, what are they talking about? They're like, they love 40% gains. Are you kidding me? For a portfolio?
Well, they're large investors. They have $10 million, 40% gain. It's what, 400K.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like it's a different ball game when you're playing with that large sum of money. When you're playing with our nickels and dimes, we need 1,000x just to pay rent at this point or mortgage. Webster stole my frog. Yeah. So DM me at Shizzy on X and send me that wild address with the frog, and we'll send it to you in 2 days.
You earned it, man.
You definitely earned it, man. You kicked ass this year. We really appreciate you. But we'll officially announce it in 2 days. But there's you're locked in, brother. Do we feel it's worth building a better Bitcoin assets UX when you ICP? I love Bitcoin assets UX when you on ICP. I love it. I love what Satsman and Omnity is doing. We're actually going to put out a video later kind of covering that. And I think it's really exciting what Omnity is doing for Bitcoin. Really.
Yeah. Well, the ICP tech stack is being leveraged in, I think, the most, obviously EVM is right there, right? So it's those two that are being used the most right now, right? And so ICP, the builders over there that are trying to scale these Bitcoin layer 1 assets, man, they have a strong passion for it, just like Jeff does, right? And Jeff decided to use the EVM route, and so the builders that are continually building and surviving through these harder times for this asset class, you gotta keep your eye on them, because once the market comes back, they'll be ready. They're already putting products out and stuff.
100%, 100%. We want to do next. You want to do news in the trenches or the Merlin segment?
Well, let's just hit on Merlin and talk about, you know, the success that they've had.
So Merlin has been easily one of the biggest winners in 2025, right? I mean, from June being 7 cents to today just being above 30 cents, and kind of just structured there a little bit there. So this has been one of the biggest things, eye-opening things I've seen in a long time, is the rise of Merlinchain. And we've been somebody who's been covering it since before it was born, right? Before the coin was even in circulation. So it's been really amazing to see Merlinchain. Shout out to Merlinchain. And guys, just remember, you know, you're seeing days like today where its price is down. A lot of it comes from the selling down of people kind of leaving their 6-month asset, right? What normally happens is those tokens are kind of bought back up and then restructured back in. So this is the only place you can get 45% on a token that actually is not a scam, right? Merlin is what they're doing is they're earning yield from their Bitcoin. They're taking their Bitcoin, they're earning yield on it, they're buying back the Merlin token. It's the ultimate game here. It's earn yield with Bitcoin, buy back Merlin token. This is what this team is doing, and it's just been absolutely amazing to see this year.
Yeah, it's been kind of the silent buybacks, right? They didn't want to like push that marketing super hard about the buybacks, because it was kind of like, okay, you know, this is our plan. If we put ourselves in a good situation for 2025, then we'll be able to do consistent buybacks, and that's exactly what they've done, right? But they've been able to catch people's attention, which is, in my, like, not the everyday, like, you know, crypto Twitter user necessarily, and these things, but they are starting to pay more attention for sure. But the centralized exchanges, you know, the biggest ones, you're talking about Kraken, that they got listed on before it started with Perps and then Spot, and then Coinbase listing them on Perps. To me, that was the ultimate get, because you have the largest centralized exchange in the West. Brian Armstrong, huge figure. On him and CZ, in my opinion, they're on the same level in terms of, you know, the West, the largest, the East, the largest is CZ. And so the last kind of dragon to slay is Binance, right? Which is kind of ironic because they're in the East, right? Yeah. And I think that they get on there. But do they need to? Not necessarily. They were on Binance Alpha, and I think that helped a lot, by the way, right? But more than anything, I think it's just kind of educating people on, look, they're really big on BTC Fi. I think BTC Fi is going to be big. And you know, people might be wondering, well, how are they going to do it? Because there's no validators really. So there are some layer 2s that are utilizing kind of like their validator type of incentive in staking Bitcoin and getting back the synthetic Bitcoin of that chain. That's an idea. There's definitely more centralized approaches to where you can, you know, stake your Bitcoin and get paid back in Bitcoin. And, you know, the Merlin product has been a big success with that. But I think that this is going to be a category that really grows over time. Now, obviously, there's been some bad experiences in the past with, like, what was it? The Celsius and stuff like that. Way more of a centralized approach, though. Almost kind of like you're just straight up depositing and just giving everything up to them without smart contracts back then, or maybe there was, but it was definitely way more centralized. You know, and so this is a good direction that's moving into, and I think it gets better.
Yeah, and every chain wants your Bitcoin, right? Every chain wants you to take your Bitcoin, put it there. Why? Because TVL is a thing that really matters in decentralized finance, right? And if you can put 10 Bitcoin, you're showing $1 million in you know, TVL. So company, I mean, they will give you insane amount of their token. And that's the thing. So they're creating their token out of thin air, these chains, right? And they're just giving it to you for the TVL, because that makes them look better. It makes people buy the token more. It's a win-win. So what do you do with that token? You sell it down, and then they go and buy Merlin with it, right? So it's just like, and then they get their Bitcoin back with nothing, you know, no penalty. So if they take their, and if you deposit your Bitcoin in here, they're doing the exact same thing. You got these vaults, they're giving you 17% yield, which means they're making like 20 or 30% on some of this. And what they can do too, they can take, you know, USDC and Bitcoin, put it in pools, and if that pool is rocking and rolling, they're making an insane amount of fees, right? So these guys are masters of DeFi, and they're just kind of doing it for you. But shout out to Merlin, shout out the year they had, and just very thankful that Merlin exists, man, for sure. I think it's a much needed space project in this space. Let's move along to news in the trenches. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but the hottest thing has been the white whale token. Did you know that Thread Guy actually launched that?
Did he?
Yes, that is the rumor going around, that wallet, the deploying address belongs to Thread Guy, but now it's CTO'd by the white whale himself. Crazy story behind that, though.
It is a crazy story, and there's a lot of people saying that there's not a ton of just regular, traders on crypto Twitter posting P&Ls, and this was obviously cabaled and all those things. Where is it at right now? 54 million? 64 million, right? So last time I saw a coin go over 50 like this was probably Troll. So I do, this is not financial advice ever on our show, but I do expect this to go to 100 million.
Really?
I do because, like I said, the last time, now 60, I feel like 45 to like 50 areas like where we haven't been able to really get past. I think was it Wojak got there. There was another coin that like got kind of close. I don't know if it was Bullish, I think maybe it's called, or something. And so there was a couple recently in the past like 6 months that have attempted the 50 million range and just got rejected. I just feel like there's a lot of momentum behind the CTO of White Whale that it almost reminds me a little bit of Fartcoin because I wasn't right there in the trenches when Fartcoin was running, but from what people were saying is that the CTO was so strong with it. And that's what they're saying about White Whale. They're saying that White Whale CTO is absolutely nuts. Unfortunately, it's like, it went to 8 million initially. It dropped back down to like 800,000, dude, like 3 weeks ago. And then, while the market conditions have been so bad, it's like, no, nothing's going to run, and little do you know, the white whale comes out and says, nah, this is going to run.
This is what you're talking about, right? Went up to 7 million.
Yeah.
Down to 800K.
That's exactly what I called just now. I said it went back to 800K.
I want to find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
To your point. And then, dude, that was the bottom. 800K was the bottom. That's crazy.
Well,
did you see this new token that's running right now? I didn't mean to cut you off. Did James Wynn launch something?
Probably, but he launched like 4 tokens before that just dumped. So maybe, I don't know. He's trying to jump on the coattails of the white whale because he's a KOL, or he has like a large account, right? And so I think he's trying to jump on the coattails of it and try to get it going. And you have the guy Uni PCS, which is the bonk guy. He's a KOL for the kind of that bonk ecosystem, but he has like 500,000 followers on X, and his coin ran to 1 million. And so there seems to be like some KOLs that are trying to like push on this to use their name to try to jump on it. But the crazy thing is that I think it was Thread Guy that came out a week ago and said the worst thing that White Whale could have done was CTO that and take it over. And that's when it pulled back to 800K. But then now you look at it and I'm just kind of like, well, I don't think it was the worst thing. And also, is that his alt account? The White Whale? I don't think it is. But
what if it was Thread Guy's alt account?
His burner account, which is not a burner account.
Yeah, man. I got the bullish token there. You're talking about 25 million.
Yeah.
Silver whale. I saw the black whale yesterday go absolutely insane. I saw it like 200K, 300K, and then
the derivatives, though, it's almost like they're definitely at some point gonna pull back pretty intense pullbacks.
Yeah, man. Charlie the Trump dog. Kermit. So what are you kind of expecting for this week? Obviously it's a shorter week. The first is a holiday here in the US. What are you kind of expecting for this week?
For the trenches?
Yeah.
It seems like it's starting to pop a little bit here, right? And sometimes what it takes is a token. It takes a token getting to like 100 million to 200 million. But you know, a lot of those times it's obviously like a cabal driven movement. Like,
Yeah.
who has money right now to push that? Like, there's only certain groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a liquid market, you're gonna see people wanting to gamble on other opportunities, and all the tokens are gonna be capped at like, you know, 2, 5, maybe 10 million. They're just you don't unless you're in a liquid environment to where it gets better, it's healthier, and there's more money to go around, then you can have the multiple $100 million runners. I just don't think we're there yet, right? So what the whale can do is get people's attention, get cross over 100 million, get between 100 and 200 million, and then people will start to gamble again a little bit more. They'll expect to have like a runner that goes to 100 million that gets capped at 10. Some people will round trip that. Some people will take profit, because one thing about, you know, the participants in Solana right now, they're really good at taking profit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're really good at taking profit early.
Really
So you'll see that.
100%. And anything else from News from the Trenches?
I think that's it, man. It's just, you know, the trenches are really tough, because right now there's probably people watching the white whale run and saying, what the F? Like, I was all into the trenches like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. All I did was lose. Now this wants to run to like 100 million. And it's almost kind of like you're at the casino constantly like playing the slots, and all you do is lose. And then you know, you lost all your money, but you're waiting for your friend to finish poker, and you're just sitting there, and all of a sudden you hear the jackpot go off and someone just won 80K. Yeah. someone just won 80K, right? And you know, however you perceive that is the space right now. That's that, you know, I mean, and that's why people don't want to miss the white whale, right? There's just not enough of those though and there's not enough liquidity to have multiple of those right now. There's just not.
100%. Well, that's our show for you guys today. Really amazing. We got 212 over on X, 26 watching over on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys, man. You guys mean the world to us. We're here for, even if we lose all of our partners, we're still going to do the show because we love you guys. We just want to make sure you guys are informed and finding the best opportunities. That is our main goal here at OnChain Revolution, finding our viewers the best opportunities to make money, to set themselves up for FIRE, which is, you know, the freedom. What is FIRE? What's up? Whatever it is, it's like freedom, investment, stuff like that. So definitely gonna find you guys the best opportunity. WebDro, again, DM me your frog address, but really appreciate all you guys, man.
Exactly. Yeah, we appreciate all of you guys for supporting the show. Without you guys, we could not do this, and we are very grateful. We got 3 days left to finish the year. Let's finish it strong together. But we're also grateful for our partners. Without them, we definitely couldn't do the show as well. If you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate that. Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer of the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you are looking to jump your Bitcoin ordinals or Bitcoin NFTs like Rare Pepe's or Nakamoto cards, you got to use Emblem Vault. They've been doing it since 2021, and they've been building on Bitcoin since 2013, actually. So they have all the experience in the world. They were, I think, without Emblem Vault, counterparty in Bitcoin NFTs probably wouldn't be as prevalent, you know, as they are. So, you know, they definitely know what they're doing over there. Right now, you can actually take a loan out against your Taproot Wizard Ordinal on the Gandhi application, which is the largest borrowing and lending application on Ethereum. So check that out for sure. But they're going to open this up to other layers, Solana being one, Hedera being another, BSC, EVM stuff as well. And speaking of those other layers, they have one of the best AI products in all of crypto called agenthustle.ai. If you go to agenthustle.ai, there's a free subscription. You can test it out, but you can ask Hustle to find you some low cap gems and whatever ecosystem you want. You just prompt him and ask him, and he will bring back some options and let you know why he thinks that these are solid options. And then also you can do conditional buy and sell limit orders with Hustle, which is super exciting because you got stuff to do, right? So if you don't want to sit there and watch the charts all day, just tell them what you want to do. You know, buy more fart coin when it pulls back 20%, sell it when you're up 60%, whatever scenario. And they got cross-chain swaps. They got all types of stuff coming. This is going to be a one-stop shop. I truly believe that. So check it out for sure. Now, if you want pretty much an advantage in the space, you got to level up the subscription to a paid subscription. You can get a 30% discount if you use the Hustle token to pay. and that is the single token that powers the entire Emblem ecosystem. So make sure you research the different subscriptions. You get more tools and more prompts, of course, but the free one's just a tester, right? You want to test it out, and that's fine. And then there's another product that they have called migrate.fun, which is pretty much created its own meta. If you are looking to migrate your Solana token and community from one launchpad to another, you got to use migrate.fun. They are in their third cohort. They're finishing it up. Right now, they are doing the pump fun cohort right now, right? So you can check out what that process looks like if you go to migrate.fun, and you can also reach out to the team because their contact is there as well. As you see, Hustle's there, kind of guide you through migrate.fun as well. But head over to emblem.vision to learn about all the products I just broke down for you guys. And then Merlinchain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AIs. They have their Wizard version 2.0 that can guide you through Merlinchain's ecosystem. And also, it can help you swap for popular tokens outside the ecosystem. All you got to do is have some Merlinchain Bitcoin in your Merlinchain wallet, which can be a MetaMask with their custom RPC installed, or a Bitcoin wallet like Xverse or Unisat. And you get Bitcoin in there, and you can swap for Solana tokens or BSC tokens directly through the Wizard. The Wizard also can help you do, of course, on-chain stuff with Merlin, swapping with Merlin Swap, and then staking as well. Speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake security model that powers their blockchain. And you can participate in 3 ways. The first way is staking Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. This is the product we were talking about earlier. Everybody loves it. The first staking vault ended September 30th. They got 17% APR for their Bitcoin stakers, which is an amazing APR there. They had about 76 Bitcoin participating in that one. And then they have their current vault that closes January 8th. So not many more days. You might actually want to just wait till the new vault opens there, but they always shoot for that, the best APR they can get you guys. Obviously, they have to do it in a smart way. So it could be a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on, what the opportunity is there. But it's always going to be a minimum of 8%, maximum of 21%. So check that out. And then 2 ways to stake with the Merlinchain token. The first way is the day-to-day, which is the flexible staking vault there. You earn 15% APR. You can claim your rewards every single day, roll them up in a compound interest strategy, hold them, sell them, whatever you want to do. It's your prerogative. Just know it's a 7-day cooldown period if you want to withdraw your Merlinchain tokens. And then the last option is the bonded option, which is a 6-month lockup period. You get 45% APR on this one. But the cool thing about this, even though it's locked up for 6 months, you can claim your rewards every single day and do whatever you'd like to do with those as well. This team is crushing it, guys. Got listed on Coinbase Perps a week and a half ago. Follow them on X so you're updated with their latest and greatest updates. And of course, we'll do that for you as well. Head over to merlinchain.io today. And our last partner, which is our newest partner, is satsman.fun, which is the fun meme coin Rune Bitcoin Layer 1 launchpad that utilizes and leverages ICP's tech stack. So they had 3 Genesis tokens that the team launched. 2 of them are already bonded in 7Z. And then you also have Land Wolf, which is my favorite. And then the last one, all in BTC, that one actually didn't go through. So what are we waiting on now? We're waiting on them to open this up to the public, and we're going to be launching tokens on here just to show you guys how the process works, right? It's going to be a fun time. The team is super passionate about making sure that these assets, these layer 1 assets, have an opportunity to thrive, right? Because there's going to be a moment whenever Kraken really cranks it back up for Rune's marketing and all that stuff. But obviously the market needs to be better from a liquidity standpoint, which it will get. But you got to be ready on how to use the platform. You can actually etch short tail runes. So you can kind of, reserve them in a sense, right? You can bid on them early. And Shizzy and I both think that this is going to be a hot meta as the runes get chopped down. You're going to eventually get to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the future, right? But you can bid on them whenever they're a certain amount of time out. And then I think that's going to get really competitive once we get to the 5, 4, and 3. We'll explain more about that in the video we create, because I think there needs to be an educational kind of piece out there about Bitcoin Layer 1 assets and how important I think they are for the future. But yeah, so check out satsman.fun and make sure that you go over to RichSwap as well, because that's where they graduate to, so you can get familiar with that platform. Thank you guys for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. As always. And if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out OnChain or Revolution.io. We always have the freshest articles, guys. Definitely check out all of our articles here. Merlinchain, Omnity, Fed Ends QT. Check them out all out right here. Really kind of get you caught up to what's been happening. If you've been off and just not really paying attention, these articles will really, really help you. It kind of is the theme of the week usually. Highly recommend NordVPN. I use it every single day, and right now you guys can get it for $2.99. I highly recommend you guys go and get a Nord. It allows you to use stuff like Hyperliquid, allows you to use stuff like MEXC, anything that geo blocks you because of your location. This stops it, right? So you definitely need a VPN to potentially use Polymarket and stuff like that as well. So get yourself a VPN today. And also, if you're launching coins or doing anything that you don't want to fall back on you, this is the only way for them not to be able to find your home address, because your IP address leads them to your home. Get this. This will kind of show a different IP address. It can show you in Italy. It'll show you in somewhere else. This is something every computer that deals with crypto must have, guys. And it's so cheap. It's $2.99. Lock it in here, guys. Get it and stake it for sure. Yeah, for sure. So get it, lock it in for 2 years. I said stake it, but lock it in for 2 years. Set it, forget it, and be done with it. Holiday deal, 77% off. You can't beat. Make sure you guys use our link, because if you go to the site, you're gonna be paying $11.59. And if you lock it in for 2 years, you get extra 3 months, so 27 months for like $60. Cannot beat it. And on top of that, if you guys need a Ledger hardware wallet, make sure you guys come to our website, OnChainRevolution.io, and that will give you the link here. You guys can get Ledger Nano S for $60, Ledger Nano X for $100. You cannot beat these deals. Do not have your crypto sitting in hot wallets. If you plan on holding it long term, it needs to be in here. If you're doing like some trading and stuff, a hot wallet is fine. But if you are holding something long term, it's stupid not to get yourself a Ledger. Use our link and check out everything here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain.